Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle Nedwick and I make healthy lifestyle videos that include some new recipes, some fashion content, some beauty content, a look into my life, and I'm also documenting my journey on compounded Tirzepatide. So today I have a what I eat in a day. And I'll bring you guys along for the whole day. I think Mike and I are gonna end up at Sam's Club at some point this evening. But I am home for lunch. I did not film before I went to work in the morning, but I did have my collagen peptides in my Nespresso coffee maker with a splash of sugar-free creamer. So that's all I've had so far. That is one Weight Watcher point. And if you've been following my channel, you know that I have started going back to the Weight Watcher meetings with my best friend, Gina. And I get to take you guys there too because I am doing a motivational series where I discuss the topics that we discuss at the meetings. And those will generally air on Sundays. So kind of gear you up for the work week. But like I said, I am home for lunch. And I am going to make grilled cheese and tomato soup. So it has been freezing cold in northeastern Ohio. I mean, pretty much for the last month and a half. It's just been terribly cold. It's 14 degrees out right now. So it makes you want some comfort food, so to speak. But I also am making sure that I get my protein intake in. So I am going to have, like I said, a grilled cheese. I'm gonna use this Seed-tastic bread that I got at Aldi. One slice is 2 points, 2 slices is 3 points. So that's what I'm gonna use. Instead of butter, I use I can't believe it's not butter spray. And then I'm going to use a slice of Velveeta, and good to know, this is only one Weight Watcher point per slice. I think if you use 2 slices, it's 3, but if you're just using one, then it's 1 point. And I'm also going to do a slice of mozzarella that has 2 points. So for the tomato soup, I am going to add a cup of my Fairlife Ultra Filtered milk. This one is the fat-free kind. So that will add some protein. But before I get started making my lunch, let me update you guys on a few things. So if you've been following me, you know that I have a cat, Kylie, who has not been feeling well. Over $2,000 later in vet bills, she does seem to be stabilizing, but she's having a hard time eating anything but these. And I'll show you. So somebody suggested these and she loves them and she seems to tolerate them well. I was trying to incorporate Fancy Feast back into her diet because she's going through about 3/4 of a box a day, and they're like $12 a box. So it's not cheap. So I thought she was doing good on the Fancy Feast, but I came home to a nice surprise of projectile vomiting. And she always likes to target my white rug. So anyway, but for the most part, she is doing better. So if you guys are pet owners and you know some easily digestible food other than these temptation purees, please shoot me a comment below. And, oh, she's gonna make an appearance, maybe. She's up here. I have to feed her on the counter so that Leo doesn't eat her food because half the time I have her medication mixed in with it. And like I said before, the last thing my fat cat Leo needs is thyroid medicine. So anyway, so don't judge me. She's on the counter. I make sure I wipe it down with a bleach cleaner several times a day. So that's the Kylie update. In my last video, I was telling you about a trial that I have coming up that I was kind of stressed about. When I get back from lunch, I'm going to call the witnesses and find out if they want to proceed to trial or if we had discussed a plea offer for the defendant. And I can tell you guys more about that later today because I don't know what their decision is yet, whether they're going to proceed to trial or if they are going to be all right with a plea deal for the defendant. So this evening, I will let you know what they decided, and I'll give you a quick recap of the case because it was kind of interesting. So now, mind you, I'm a municipal prosecutor, so any trials that I'm having are going to be for misdemeanors, not felonies. I do preliminary hearings on felonies, but then they get bound over to a different court. So, little legal lesson. Oh, and I also told you in the last video that I was having my friend come over on President's Day, which was yesterday, today is Tuesday, to help me clean out some closets because, you know, that darn Mike thinks he needs a closet here if he's going to move in. I'm not sure. It's crazy talk. But anyway, my friend came over. I made this really good tortellini pasta salad, and I know I've done it in a video, and if I can find it, I will link that below. But we had the pasta salad. I made my homemade hummus, which I think I've also done in a video. It was delicious, so easy. And I'll try to find that one and link it below as well. So we had a nice time and we got a lot of work done. And I will show you a little video. Here's the clean closet. I didn't do any before pictures, sorry. And then these bags up here are all getting donated to Goodwill. And then I have 4 bags of the same size that are trash. So we got rid of a lot of stuff. So I'm kind of trying to systematically go through my house and just pick an area and focus on it and then move on. So I'm happy that we got that done and now Mike has a closet. So, all right, I think that's my update for the moment. And I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing and make my grilled cheese and tomato soup.
I'm feeling way too low to start this night, but I wanna get to your bash. Last night you tried to make me angry, yeah, but this time I get you mad. Oh, don't need apologies enough for this. I'm burning for you. Can't get enough of the weekend. I wanna seize the night like I can't let go. Can't get enough of the weekend. Don't wanna ever get lost to the sun. Oh no, we can't get enough of the weekend. We wanna seize the night like we can't let go. Can't get enough of the weekend. Don't wanna ever get lost to the sun. Oh no.
All right, well, my lunch was delicious. And I normally don't put milk in my tomato soup. I usually just use water, but it made it creamier and it gave you some extra protein. So, and it's really didn't add many calories or points. That Fairlife skim milk is, I used about a cup and then I only had half of the soup. So I had about a half cup of the Fairlife. That's only 1 Weight Watcher point added, but it does add about 6 or 7 grams of protein. So speaking of protein, I have been liking taking my clear protein drink to work to sip on in the afternoon. I use this My Protein Clear Whey Isolate, Mike and Ike flavored, and it's the only one I've tried of the different clear proteins, but I really like it. And if you haven't tried a clear protein, you really need to, because, you know, sometimes with those protein shakes, they're just too heavy or too creamy. This just, it's like drinking lemonade, I've said in the past. So this has 90 calories, 1 Weight Watcher point, and 20 grams of protein. So it's a quick and easy way to get in that extra protein. All right, I am going to head back to work. And when I get back home this evening, I'm going to be trying a new recipe. And it is Boursin pork chops. So I had bought this cheese and I've been wanting to make that recipe. So now pork chops are 0 points on Weight Watchers, which is great. So I'll be showing you the recipe for that this evening. All right, I'm gonna head out the door and I will see you when I get back. Well, all right, I am home from work and boy, it's so cold out, but Mike and I have some running around to do tonight. We're gonna take 4 of the big bags of clothes that I took out of my closet to Goodwill and then head to Sam's Club. But that will be near the end of the night. In the meantime, I have a new recipe for you guys. It's Boursin pork chops. And I'll get to that in a minute. It's from a website called Salt and Lavender, and I will list that in the description box below. I just found this website recently and it really has some good recipes. Now it doesn't give Weight Watcher points, but it does give the nutritional information. So you can plug it in and figure it out. Now, technically you're supposed to be able to copy the link to the recipe and put it in your Weight Watchers app, but for some reason that didn't work. I think Weight Watchers is having a little bit of technical difficulties. So you can always do it manually. But I'll get to the recipe in a minute. I want to tell you about that trial I was working on last week. So apparently it is not going to go to trial. There were 3 victims and I spoke to them today and we had discussed a plea offer for the defendant and they are okay with him taking the plea offer. So let me just tell you a brief little bit about the case because it was kind of interesting and I think it would have been a really interesting trial to see what happened. So this actually happened over a year ago. It was at a wedding and everybody was drinking. It was at the end of the wedding and the guests were getting ready to get on a shuttle bus and that shuttle bus was to take them to a hotel. So the defendant, who none of the victims had met before, he was a friend of the bride and he was extremely intoxicated. So he starts out by hugging a bunch of people. So he hugs the first victim, so to speak, super tight and, he wouldn't stop. So she finally got away and headed towards the shuttle bus and he followed. He then goes to victim number 2 and he hugs her and plants his head like straight in her chest. And then he tells her he's going to kiss her. And she's like, no, you're not. And at this point in time, I don't think anyone was looking at calling the police or anything like that. He was just an annoying drunk person. But he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't leave this victim number 2 alone. He kept hugging her really tight and telling her that he was going to kiss her until, it was getting old fast. The shuttle bus comes, they get on the bus. They're waiting for some other people to get onto the bus. So they're in the bus parked at the wedding venue and he follows victim number 2 onto the bus. And again, he's trying to hug her and they were like bench seats, I guess. And she's trying to get him off of her and he kind of falls and falls in between the seat and the one in front of him on the floor. One of the guys on the bus was like, all right, dude, go sit over there. So he then goes over and sits on the bench seat next to victim number 3. And victim number 3 is kind of seated on the edge with her legs over in the aisle, talking to her friends. And he's beside her on the seat, but behind her because she has her back to him. Now, victim number 3 was a bridesmaid. She had on kind of a one strap bridesmaid dress that had like a built-in bra, so she wasn't even wearing a bra. But if you've ever, worn one of those kind of dresses, like my wedding dresses and stuff have all the built-in stuff. But anyway, so she's talking to her friends. Now, what you need to know about victim number 3 is she had just had a baby 2 weeks prior. She had had a C-section and she was breastfeeding. Her breasts were extremely sensitive. And he's behind her. She's not really paying attention to him. And he reaches around and he squeezes her breasts. And it was apparently extremely painful. And she screams. She doesn't say anything right away. Her husband was there on the bus, but didn't see what happened. And, she just wanted to get back to the hotel. So, but she's very, very, very upset. So when they get to the hotel, they start talking. Now, all 3 victims knew each other and were friends. So they start talking about this guy and they decided to call the police. So ultimately, this guy was charged with 3 counts of sexual imposition. Now, this is a misdemeanor version. You may have heard of gross sexual imposition, or GSI. That's a felony. But basically, it's unwanted sexual contact. And sexual contact is defined as touching an area, and it's not an inclusive list, but it does include the breast area. Now, at first I was evaluating this case and thinking, it's at a wedding. He was drunk. They should have let it go. But I had these victims come in and speak to me. And even a year later, they were pretty emotional about this. And I watched the body cam of the officers that arrived at the hotel to talk to both the defendant and the victims. And they were very upset, very visibly upset. Mostly victim number 3, who had just had the baby. So fast forward a year, it's not easy being a victim in a court case because you're subpoenaed over and over to come in, because in Ohio, we have something called Marcy's Law, and they have the right to have a say in the case. So we can't really make plea offers or things like that without consulting them. And they were gung-ho. They wanted this guy to be found guilty of sexual imposition. Now, the problem is that the defendant is a nurse. He's an RN. And if he's found guilty of that charge, he'll lose his license to be a nurse. So it's very important to him. And I had talked to the defense attorney, and we talked about a plea offer of 3 counts of disorderly conduct persisting. And that's basically causing someone alarm and annoyance. They're told to stop, and they keep doing it anyways. So it kind of fits the scenario. And I said to the defense attorney, these ladies are really upset. So maybe if he does 2 days jail over a weekend, maybe that would help. Now, one of the victims, victim number 3, the one who just had the baby, she was a nurse also, and her husband's a nurse. They were okay with him losing his nursing license. But they also recognized that he was very, very intoxicated. So part of the plea offer is going to be for him to get a substance abuse evaluation and follow all the recommendations and be on probation. And they wanted the weekend to think about it. And they did decide to go ahead and let me offer the disorderly conduct persistings. So it was an interesting case, and there's another twist to it as well, because the defendant, well, let me backtrack. The crime of sexual imposition, it requires as an element in the case that the defendant do it for sexual gratification of either himself or the other person. And the defendant's argument, apparently he is gay. And he is saying, I can't, get sexual gratification because I'm gay. And so therefore I should be found not guilty. So I'm not sure what would have happened with that at trial. It was not a jury trial, it was a trial to the judge. So I guess we'll never know. It's an interesting argument though. So I didn't want to bore you guys too much, but once in a while when I have an interesting case, I'll let you guys know about it. Obviously I can't, state any names, but I'll try to remember to tell you guys about my more interesting cases. All right, so back to dinner. I am going to make pork chops, of course, and it's gonna be really easy. According to the recipe, I'm going to season the pork chops with, it calls for salt, pepper, and garlic powder. So I have this blend, Kinders, the blend, which is salt, pepper, and garlic. So I'll season the pork chops with that. You're gonna put a little bit of olive oil and butter in the pan, and you're gonna sear the pork chops. You're gonna then remove them and put them on a plate. And then in the same pan, you're gonna then saute some yellow onion. And then you're going to add some chicken broth. So I have this bone broth. I might add a little bit of my powdered chicken bouillon to give it just a little bit of a better taste. But I'm gonna use that. And this container actually adds 10 grams of protein. So, and the secret ingredient is this Boursin cheese. I have never tried this, but it sounds delicious. So after you saute the onions and you make the sauce and you add the cheese and you stir it up and you let that simmer for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then you add back the pork chops to the sauce and let it finish cooking. And a pork chop needs to be at least 145 degrees with a meat thermometer. So that is what I'm gonna do. And now there are a couple things you can serve it with. I have some rice. I make a big batch usually, and then I freeze it in 1 cup portions. I just use my measuring cup and plop it in a sandwich baggie and then stick it in a freezer bag, and you've got instant rice if you want it. So I'm gonna make that for Mike, but I actually have some leftover mashed potatoes I made on Sunday. So I'm gonna have mashed potatoes with mine, about a half a cup. So I am going to turn the camera down and get this dinner together, and then I'll report back and let you know how it turned out. And then I'll probably end the evening at Sam's Club. Now Mike and I are gonna take my clothes to Goodwill and then go to Sam's Club. And what I need at Sam's Club, and let me, hang on for a second. I get the VitaFusion Women's Multivitamins at Sam's Club, and I'm down, there's just one left in there. So I have to get that. I want to get the Fairlife chocolate protein shakes. Those are my favorite protein shakes. So I also have a Ninja creamy recipe for that with, you use a Fairlife chocolate protein shake, a tablespoon of sugar-free chocolate pudding mix, and I think it's like, I forget the measurement. I'll put that in the description box below. Also, it's a teaspoon of cocoa powder, I think. So, and then you mix that all together, and then you freeze it for 24 hours, and then you put it in your Ninja Creamy on light ice cream, and then respin it as necessary. So that looked really good. And I'm always looking for ways to get in some extra protein. So, all right, I'm gonna make Mike and my dinner.
Oh, don't need apologies enough for this. I'm burning for you. Can't get enough of the weekend. I wanna seize the night like I can't let go. Can't get enough of the weekend. Don't wanna ever get lost to the sun. Oh no, we can't get enough of the weekend. We wanna seize the night like we can't let go. Can't get enough of the weekend. Don't wanna ever get lost to the sun. Oh no. Sometimes I wonder how I managed to get so lost in your eyes. It's like you're made of something pure that I'm not. But I'm so glad you are with me. Oh, don't need apologies enough for this. I'm burning for you. Can't get enough of the weekend. I wanna seize the night like I can't let go. Can't get enough of the weekend. Don't wanna ever get lost to the sun. Oh no. You shine brighter, brighter than a diamond. Your shine is lighter, lighter than the sunlight. Lighter than the sunlight. You're lighter than the sunlight. Lighter than the sun. You're lighter than the sunlight. Can't get enough of the weekend. I wanna seize the night like I can't let go.
All right, well, we have the clothes loaded in the back, and Mike and I are headed to Goodwill and then Sam's Club. So I'm just going to end the video with some scenes from Sam's Club of some of the stuff I'm going to get. So I'm going to end the video. If you like this video, please like it below and subscribe to my channel. And tick that notification bell so you are alerted every time I upload a new video. I'm also going to leave you with some pictures of my Weight Watchers app. I've got my points for the day, and I'll put those up here. And then I also have the macros. Now, I didn't make 100 grams of protein. I made 94. I do intend on getting some cottage cheese at Sam's Club. So I will probably have a little bit of that just to round out the day. All right, guys. I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I will see you next time.